Hey, it's so good to be with you today. Whether you're walking, sipping your coffee, sitting alone in your room, or even multitasking in the middle of your day, I want to thank you for giving me your time, and more importantly, for giving yourself this space, because today's topic is one that most people don't talk about, honestly. Especially with women, we're going to talk about how to control your sexual desire as a female without shame. Now, if just hearing that sentence made you a little tense, you're not alone. There is so much noise out there about female sexuality, what it should look like, how much is too much, how much is not enough, what's ladylike, what's wild, and somewhere in the middle of all that is you with real feelings, real cravings, real questions, and maybe real confusion. See, no one teaches us how to handle our desire. We're either told to suppress it, be a good girl, or to express it in a way that fits into someone else's fantasy. But where's the guidance for you, the woman who wants to stay connected to her value, her heart, and her body all at once? That's what we're going to get into today. This isn't a conversation about denying your desire. It's a conversation about reclaiming it so that you never have to feel like you're fighting against yourself, but instead learning how to lead yourself. By the end of this, I want you to walk away feeling empowered, not to shut off your sexual side, but to guide it, to understand it, and to use it in a way that aligns with your standards, your confidence, and your emotional safety. This is about being in control, not because you're ashamed of what you feel, but because you deeply respect yourself. So take a deep breath, shake off any judgment, any guilt, any mental baggage you've been carrying around this topic. You are in a safe space here. And it's time to have the conversation that's been long overdue. Let's dive in. One of the biggest traps we fall into when it comes to our sexual desire is this instinct to instantly judge ourselves for it the moment we feel a sexual urge, whether it's sparked by a person, a thought, a memory, or even just our own body's chemistry. We immediately start the mental commentary. Why am I thinking like this? What's wrong with me? Is this appropriate? I shouldn't feel this way. And right there in that very moment, we move away from self-awareness and into self-rejection. It's subtle, but it's powerful, because what you're actually doing is sending yourself a message. You can't be trusted with your own feelings. And that message, it creates inattention, it creates shame. And over time, it disconnects you not just from your desire, but from your own intuition. So what do we do instead? We start by observing what we feel. Not with fear and not with guilt, but with curiosity. Think of your sexual desire like a light on your dashboard. It's not there to shame you, it's just a signal. It's your body saying, hey, something's going on here. And your job isn't to punish the feeling, it's to understand it. You're not bad for feeling sexual desire. You're not out of control. You're not broken. You're a human being with a body that works, a body that responds to emotional connection, to physical stimulation, to imagination, to hormones, to chemistry. And if that surprises you or makes you uncomfortable, just know that discomfort is not your truth. It's your conditioning. You've been taught to feel weird about it, to be the nice girl, the modest one, the one who doesn't express desire unless it's been first requested, validated, or made safe by someone else. But the truth is, your desire isn't dangerous. It's not something to be hidden away in a box until it's allowed. It's something to own, not act on without thought, but own. And that starts with something really simple but really powerful. The next time you feel desire arise, don't push it away. Don't analyze it. Don't label it. Just breathe into it. Say to yourself, I see you. I feel you. This is okay. That alone can shift everything, because now you're no longer fighting yourself. You're creating space to process, to choose to lead your desire instead of letting it lead you. You're making room to ask better questions, like, where is this coming from? Is this connected to a real emotional desire or just a fleeting moment? Is there something deeper I need right now? Those questions don't come when you're busy shaming yourself. They come when you've created a safe space internally to listen. So remember this, acknowledging your desire is not the same as acting on it. It's simply saying, this is part of me and I get to decide what to do with it. That mindset isn't weakness, it's strength. It's emotional maturity, and it's the beginning of truly mastering your relationship with your sexuality. Not through fear, but through respect. Let's be honest, most of us were never really taught how to deal with strong desire. Especially as women, we were taught to either suppress it or avoid it entirely. We got the message, directly or indirectly, that sexual desire makes you reckless, dirty, or shameful if you're not careful. So when it shows up, loud and persistent, the reflex is to shut it down. You try to suppress it, push it down, distract yourself, pretend it's not there. But here's the truth, suppression doesn't work, not in the long run. In fact, suppression almost always leads to two things, disconnection or explosion. You either numb yourself so much that you lose connection with your own sensuality, or you hold it in so tightly that eventually it bursts out in ways that don't actually feel aligned with your values. Suppressing desire is like holding your breath. You can do it for a while, but at some point you have to exhale. And sometimes that exhale looks like impulsive decisions, relationships you wouldn't have chosen in a more grounded state, or moments that leave you feeling more empty than fulfilled. Why? Because you didn't process the desire, you just tried to ignore it. But ignoring desire doesn't dissolve it, it just turns it into something more volatile. So what's the alternative? It's redirection. Redirecting means taking the intensity of that energy, and make no mistake, sexual energy is powerful, and choosing where to channel it. Instead of seeing desire as a problem you have to fix, you begin to treat it as fuel, something you can use, something that when guided intentionally can energize your creativity, your discipline, your confidence, even your ambition. Sexual energy and creative energy come from the same place. It's life force, it's vitality. So when you feel that rush of desire, especially when it's inconvenient or, acting on it won't serve you, pause. Then ask yourself, where else can I send this energy right now? Could I pour it into a workout? Could I use it to finish that project I've been procrastinating on? Could I use that fire to finally send that message, launch that business idea, clean my space, or write something meaningful? Could I use it to deepen my connection with myself, maybe through journaling, meditation, or even just dancing in my room to music that makes me feel alive? This isn't about pretending your desire doesn't exist. It's about saying, I'm in charge of it. It's not bigger than you. You don't have to be afraid of it. You just need to guide it. The truth is, women who learn how to redirect their sexual energy often find themselves stepping into a whole new level of personal power. They become magnetic, not because they're hot, but because they're lit up from the inside. They're not leaking energy into people who haven't earned it. They're using it to build a life that excites them. So no, don't suppress it, don't fear it, don't shame it. Just redirect it and watch how that energy transforms not just your impulses, but your entire life. Let's talk about boundaries. Not the kind you put up to protect your reputation, but the kind that exist to protect your worth. Because here's what happens to so many women. When sexual desire kicks in, there's a split-second moment where your body wants one thing and your values want another. And in that moment, it's easy to default to asking, what will people think? You start managing your image. You start thinking about how you'll be perceived. Will they think I'm easy? Will they still respect me? Will I be judged for giving in? Or on the flip side, will they lose interest if I don't? But when you're constantly trying to protect your image, you're actually abandoning your internal compass. You're not living in alignment with what's real for you. You're living to manage perception. That's exhausting. And over time, it chips away at your self-respect because you're no longer making choices from a place of personal power. You're making them from fear. Here's the shift. Stop asking, What will they think of me if I do this? And start asking, how will I feel about myself after I do this? That question changes everything, because now you're anchoring into your self-worth, not your public image. You're not living reactively anymore. You're choosing with intention. Boundaries aren't about saying no to pleasure. They're about saying yes to what honors your emotional safety. They're about creating space for real connection, not just chemistry. When you set a boundary, you're not punishing the other person and you're not being difficult. You're simply saying, I know who I am, I know what I value, and I refuse to compromise that just to keep someone interested. And that kind of self-respect, it's magnetic. It sends a signal that says, I'm not here to beg for attention. I'm here to be chosen by someone who sees my value and meets me at that level. Not someone who only responds when you give them your body, but someone who leans in because of your standards, your depth, your energy. But let's be honest, sometimes the hardest part about setting boundaries isn't saying no to someone else, it's saying no to the part of you that just wants to be wanted, that part of you that craves validation, affection, closeness. And it's okay to acknowledge that. It's okay to want connection. But the highest form of self-love is learning to delay temporary gratification for long-term peace. And that's what boundaries protect. They protect the version of you that you're becoming, the woman who doesn't just respond to desire, but leads it. So the next time you feel that pull, that tempting rush of sexual energy, pause and ask yourself, does this serve my image or does it honor my worth? Because only one of those will still feel good the morning after. And the more you build that muscle, the more you'll realize true confidence isn't about how much you give, it's about what you keep sacred. This might be one of the most important distinctions you'll ever learn in your relationship with your own desire. Not all sexual desire is intimacy. Some of it is impulse, and if you don't learn to tell the difference, you'll spend your time confusing physical urgency with emotional connection and wondering why you end up feeling unsatisfied, disappointed, or even disconnected afterward. Let's be real, sexual desire is intoxicating. It can feel like a wave that crashes over you before you even know it's coming. Your body reacts, your heart races, and for a moment, the world narrows down to this one feeling, this one person, this one craving. But the question isn't just, do I want this right now? The deeper question is, where is this desire coming from? Because sometimes what you're calling desire isn't actually about another person at all. It's not about attraction or chemistry. It's about loneliness. It's about needing validation. It's about craving closeness because something deeper inside you feels distant from yourself, from love, from security, from presence. And it's easy to confuse that with chemistry. It's easy to think, if I just have this moment with this person, I'll feel better, I feel connected. But here's the truth. Impulse might feel good in the moment, but it rarely satisfies what your soul is actually hungry for. Now compare that to intimacy. Intimacy comes with safety. It's rooted in presence. It's slow, grounding, intentional. When desire comes from true intimacy, it feels expansive, not anxious. It adds to your sense of peace rather than taking from it. You don't feel like you're chasing a high, you feel like you're choosing a connection. And afterwards, you don't feel confused or hollow, you feel seen. You feel soft, you feel safe. That's the kind of desire that nourishes, not drains. So how do you tell the difference, especially in the heat of the moment? You pause. You ask. Not the surface level questions, the deep ones. Am I acting from fullness or from emptiness? Will this bring me closer to myself or pull me away? Do I want them or do I want to feel wanted? Those questions are the gateway to self-mastery. They slow the impulse down long enough for your values to have a voice in the conversation. And look, there's nothing wrong with impulse. We're wired to feel it. It makes us alive. It reminds us that we're human. But it's only when impulse becomes your guide, your default decision maker, that you start to trade your peace for temporary connection. And I know you're not here for temporary. You're here for true. You're here for real. You're here to experience desire in a way that aligns with your integrity, not just your urges. So don't shame your impulse. Study it. Listen to it. But don't let it make decisions your heart will have to clean up later. Because you deserve desire that leaves you feeling more powerful, more confused. You deserve the kind of intimacy that feeds you on every level, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and energetically. And that kind of desire doesn't come from reacting, it comes from choosing. One of the most powerful ways to take control of your sexual desire without shame is to reconnect with your body through self-respect. Not through fear, not through discipline, not through guilt, but through a relationship with your body that is built on honor. Because here's the truth that no one really says out loud. Many women are deeply disconnected from their own bodies, not because they don't feel desire, but because they've been taught to either fear it, manipulate it, or use it for approval. Somewhere along the way, we stopped seeing our bodies as something sacred. We started seeing them as tools to attract, to perform, to be enough for someone else. And when that happens, your body becomes something you either give away or control, but rarely listen to. That disconnect creates confusion. You start asking, why do I feel this way? Why do I keep ending up in situations that don't feel good afterward? And the answer is often this: because you've been making choices with your body that don't reflect the level of respect your soul deserves. So how do you change that? You start by rebuilding the relationship like you would with someone you love. You slow down, you listen, you ask what your body needs, not just in moments of desire, but in your day-to-day life. You care for it, you feed it what gives it energy, you move it in ways that make it feel alive, not punished. You rest when it needs rest. You stop comparing it. You stop pushing it past its boundaries just to gain someone else's interest. You treat it like it's yours, not theirs. When you reconnect with your body from a place of self-respect, something amazing happens. You start feeling powerful inside your desire instead of powerless to it. Because now you're not at war with what you feel, you're in dialogue with it. You trust yourself more. You don't panic when desire arises because you know how to hold it without being consumed by it. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to rush. You don't need to compromise. You simply lead. And let me say this, reconnecting with your body doesn't mean cutting off pleasure. It means raising your standards for it. It means only giving your body to experiences, people, and environments that feel emotionally safe, emotionally present, and emotionally aligned. That's not cold. That's not distant. That's the deepest kind of self-love. So, if you want to control your desire without shame, start here. Not by shrinking it, but by elevating the way you relate to yourself. Let your body be a place of peace, not a battlefield of guilt or confusion. Let your choices come from respect, not reaction. And when you do, you'll find that you don't have to fear your sexual energy anymore. You'll realize it's not a threat, it's a gift. One you get to direct, one you get to own, and one that becomes even more powerful when it's led by a woman who knows her worth. So here's what I want you to take away from all of this. Your sexual desire is not something to be feared, shamed, or silenced. It's a natural, beautiful part of you. But learning to lead it instead of being led by it is the difference between feeling conflicted and feeling confident. It's the difference between seeking connection and actually experiencing it in a way that leaves you feeling more alive, not more empty. Controlling your desire doesn't mean denying it. It means understanding it, honoring it, being able to hold it in your hands and say, I see you. I'm not afraid of you, but I'll choose what to do with you because I know my worth. And when you operate from that place, desire becomes powerful and peaceful. You no longer need to prove anything. You're no longer running on impulse. You're rooted, you're clear, you're free. So here's your call to action. Start building that relationship with yourself today. not tomorrow, not when you have it all figured out, right now. Practice observing your desire without judgment. Practice redirecting your energy into things that light you up. Practice setting boundaries that honor your heart, not your image. And most of all, practice making choices that leave you proud, not just pleased in the moment. Because the goal isn't to become someone who doesn't feel. It's to become someone who feels deeply but leads powerfully. That's real confidence, that's real emotional maturity, and that's the woman who owns her desire without apology, without shame, and without ever having to shrink who she is to feel safe in her own skin. You've got this.